Hi, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and today I'll be bringing you 4 Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs. Now we will be using Dollar Tree products. So for DIY number 1, I have this triangle box, and I had used it previously for my fall decorations last year. So I'm just repurposing it, and I'm going to use this Kelly Green acrylic paint. And I'm going to paint the whole thing, the inside, the outside, the edges, everything. Kelly Green acrylic paint, and this is Apple Barrel. So this is one of my favorite brushes to paint with. It's just a big old brush, Crayola, probably one of the grandkids' brushes, or maybe my kids when they were smaller. I don't know. Heck, they're in their 30s, and actually my daughter's 41, and who knows? Who knows how long I've had this brush, but I really like it. So there you have the triangle totally painted in the Kelly Green paint. And I have these 3 pink bottle brush trees from the Dollar Tree. They have what looks like to be polymer clay little candy rounds, peppermint rounds on the bottom. Really cute. And I like pink and green together. So we're making a Christmas tree with trees inside of it. So I bent down the trees that are going on either side, bent them down a little bit so that they bend more towards the center of our green tree there. Oops, knocked it over. So I'm just going to hot glue these on the inside. The ones that I bent on either end. And if you like cordless glue guns, this glue gun is pretty good. The only problem I have with it is the stand keeps falling off, but that's kind of minimal. This is my first cordless glue gun, and I really like it. It holds a charge really well. And I will have a link to it in the description box. So there we have our trees inside our tree, a tree in a tree. And then I have these stickers that I got from Dollar Tree several years ago. And I'm going to use the gold star to put on the top of the green tree. And I'm just going to take that little glue dot off of there. And then I'm just going to hot glue the star onto the top of the tree. There it is, but we're not finished yet. I have a wood round that my husband cut for me, and then I have this piece of a chair leg that is going to be our stem of the tree. It's not a stem, what is it? Trunk of the tree. And then I'm just going to use this Dollar Tree's wood glue for this. It holds really well. I really like it. This is an older bottle. It's almost empty. There it comes out. So I'm just going to glue this piece of chair leg right in the middle of my wood round. And then I'm going to put some wood glue on the top of it. And then we're going to glue the green tree on top of that. And as I say, this This glue works very well. So if you haven't tried the Dollar Tree wood glue, you might want to try it out. Now I'm just trying to set it up so that it's not going to tip over or anything until it dries. And then once it dries, I'm going to add this finger bow. I'm not going to show you how to do this because it took me about 20 tries to figure it out. And now on to DIY number 2. And I'll show you the pieces in the final reveal. So here I just have this staple remover that I got from Amazon, and it works really well. I mean, so much better than using a flathead screwdriver, let me tell you. If you don't have one of these, you might want to get yourself one. And I will have a link to it in my description box. So once I get the staples loose, then I will pull them up with my pliers. Now I'm just going to try to remove this Christmas tree because I do think I can use it for other DIYs, and I don't want to break it. But let me tell you, this piece, getting the pieces off of it was a little difficult. They have them glued down pretty good. So I do struggle with it for a little bit, but I'm going to fast forward this so you can watch. You don't have to watch it in regular time. And now I'm using my finger sander and my Ladybug vacuum. And if you don't have those either, let me tell you, they're a game changer. I like both of those. And I will have those linked also in my description box. So I just continue to use this old Cricut spatula that I have and my heat gun to loosen up these pieces and the glue that's on here. And there's a lot of glitter on this too. So this was a camper piece that I got from Dollar Tree last year. I actually have 2 of these, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with them when I was watching other DIYers making the toboggans or hats out of them. I decided I needed to give it a try. Again, I'm not going to lie, it took me a while to get this piece cleaned up. But look how well that Ladybug gets that glitter up off of my table. And now I'm just going to cut this tire off. So I turn this camper over to the back, and I have my X-Acto knife and my little metal ruler there, and I'm just going to score it until it's enough that I can just kind of break it off. Once I have it off, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to clean it up a bit, and then my finger sander to get it smooth. And then we will be ready to create this hat. So I'm going to use some jet black paint. This is just acrylic paint from Apple Barrel that I get from Walmart. I think it's about 58 cents or so. And I do paint the front, the back, and the sides. And I'm just using my heat gun to speed up the drying process. And I'm painting it black because I'm going to be using black yarn to create the hat. Now, if you were going to use red yarn or green yarn, then you would want to paint this the color of the yarn that you're going to use. Now I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue there just to start my yarn going across the hat, and then I'm going to do a whole string of glue all the way across. Because you don't want these falling off. So for the first few rows, you do want to glue down the entire row. And then I wrap it around the back and do the same thing. And actually the back becomes my front because there's more glue showing on what I was going to use as the front and less on the back. So I decided to use the back as the front. So again, I'm just taking my glue all the way across the bottom of this and then adding my yarn to it. Now this yarn is some yarn that I got, I want to say a couple years ago from Michael's online. It's Bernat, I think that's how you pronounce it. And it is that chenille yarn. Now it doesn't do very good for knitting and crocheting because it kind of falls apart, but for crafting, it works pretty well. So I'm just wrapping this around, and I'm not going to lie to you, once you get on the bend, it does get harder to do. There it is, the Bernat Velvet black yarn. So as you can see at this point, I'm not really using any hot glue because the edges are fairly straight. If you have any gaps, you can always go back and fill it in once you get to the very top. Now when the yarn starts slipping, then I have to start adding hot glue to it. And you do want to hold on to this and do it pretty tightly. Not sure why I left this piece in here, me pulling the yarn out. Sorry about that. And you can see there it's starting to slip. So I'm just going to add a dot of glue on this end. And then when I take it around underneath to the other side, then I add another dot of glue. Here we go. And that's how you just want to keep going with it. I'm doing this line of glue, but that doesn't work because it dries up before you can get there. Unless your glue is extremely hot and stays liquidy for a while, you'll be able to do that. But I had to go back and add more glue. And this is why this is what I was going to use for the front. And this is why I had to use the other side, because you can see where I added the glue. So I didn't want my front to look bad with all that glue on it. And you do cover up a lot of it when you get to the top and then start wrapping back down towards the bottom. So again, I found the best way to do it is to put glue on either end when you're laying the yarn down. And here it is. All of it is wrapped. And now I'm just starting from the top and working my way back to the bottom, kind of filling in the gaps. And you do want to hold this pretty tight as you're wrapping it. Once you get as much on there as you like and filled in all the gaps, then you just cut the end off and glue it down to the side that's going to be your back. So I wrap it a pretty good bit. That actually covers up a lot of that glue on the back side. Here I am cutting it off. Well, I'm gluing it down first and then I'm going to cut it off. Just make sure when you're doing this project not to burn your fingers. And now I have this yarn, and to tell you the truth, I'm not sure where I got it. I've had it for years. I could have gotten it from the Dollar Tree, but I can't say for a fact. But like I say, it had been years. And some of the glue towards the bottom of the hat here, I guess got a little hard, and I needed to add a little bit more to make the yarn stick down. So I'm just going to wrap the bottom portion with this decorative yarn here with a little white, I don't know what you would call them. They're not really the little balls or anything. They don't have a ball shape to them, but I really like this yarn. I think it's cute, and I've used it on several crafts. It's really great for crafting. So this is like the bottom portion rim of the hat, you know, like if you're wearing a toboggan or something, and then you fold up the edge. That's what I wanted it to look like or represent. So once I get as much on here as I like, I glue down the portion of it and then cut it off. And now we want to add a ball to the top. So I'm going to use a button, and I'm going to hot glue that onto the top of our hat. And once that dries, then I have the pom-pom. Now these were given to me from my mother, and actually they were given to her by my niece. So all you do is you just hook that elastic around the bottom part of the button. And if you don't want to keep this DIY, guess what? You can take that pom-pom off and use it on one of your own hats. Now I want my piece to stand up, so I just have this chunk of wood that was just a leftover piece from some stuff we had done a year ago. And I'm just going to add hot glue to the one side that's unpainted. I did paint it with the jet black acrylic paint. So I'm just going to press that onto the back of the hat, and now it is a freestanding hat. What do you think of this project? Is this something you would do? Let me know in the comments. And now we're on to DIY number 3. And I will show you the final projects at the end of the last DIY. So I have this bag from the Dollar Tree. I bought several of them in different styles and colors. And I thought this one would make a really cool sign. And I really do like the way it turned out. In fact, I think it turned out better than I thought it would. Now, if you can see, both sides of the bag are not exactly the same. Like this Joy has gold in it. The other Joy is just plain, it has white in it. So I wanted to use the one with the gold in it. So I'm just cutting the bag apart. Being careful to get it pretty much even in case I want to use the other side for another DIY later on. And then I'm just going to trim it up once I get the sides pulled apart there. And I'm just cutting along the creases. And then I have this $5 box from the Dollar Tree. And I actually bought it when it was buy one, get one free. So it was basically $2.50 because I did get 2 of them. Now I'm just going to cut down the sides of my Joy to the World. And then I have a couple pieces of the leftover scrap and of the bag, and I'm going to put those over the holes in the back, and I'm going to match them up to the design on the front, and then you won't even tell that there was ever a hole there. Pretty amazing. I saw another crafter do that and I was like, oh my gosh, what a good idea. How come I never thought of that? See that? You can't even tell there's a hole there. And there's the other hole before we cover it up. Pretty amazing. You can learn a lot from other crafters, let me tell you. And I'm just using my Elmer's glue stick. I have no idea where I got this glue stick. I've had it forever. Probably bought it for the grandkids or something. And I'm just going to use it on the back of my paper there to glue it to the inside of my box. And as you can see, my paper is a little bit too large, and I'm just going to cut down a teeny tiny bit, probably about 1/8 of an inch on one side. And there it fits perfectly. Now there is some space on the top and the bottom of the sign there from the box, but we're going to take care of that. So I'm just putting a good layer of the glue stick around the edges of my bag here, and then I'm going to go over the whole thing with a glue stick. I'm just showing you there that it's the Elmer School glue stick, and I did glue it to the bottom of my box there. And then I have this bottle brush tree that I got from Dollar Tree last year. I bought a whole case of them, and they were the colors of Halloween. So they were black, orange, purple, and green. Now you can spray paint these if you want, but I thought this green one went really well with this sign here. And I did just trim up the back of it a little bit so it would fit in the box better. And now I have this mesh gold ribbon. I don't know if I got it from Hobby Lobby, but I've had it for years and years. I used to make little angel ornaments out of it, and that was like their wings or their dress or something like that. I think they're wings. So I still have a couple rolls of it. So you want to make sure your ribbon is laying flat. So I'm just adding some more hot glue to it. And then I want to do the same thing to the bottom of the sign. And I thought the gold ribbon went really well with the gold that's inside the joy and the little, what do you call it, leaves or vines or whatever that's on here. And I did fold down the two ends of the ribbon to make it look a little neater. And when you're hot gluing this, you want to make sure you don't burn your fingers, because the mesh, the glue does come through the mesh. So I'm going to glue the tree down. So I'm putting glue on the bottom of the wood piece and on the back of the tree, but really I wouldn't go up as high because it didn't stick to the sign at the top. So just do the bottom portion of the tree with the glue. And now that I have that on there, I'm going to make a bow. And I did it offline because I'm not a good bow maker. But I kind of did it like Six Kids in a Glue Gun. If you haven't seen her, she makes, I think she calls them X bows. So I did it like that. And it was pretty simple. Not too bad. If I can do it, you guys can do it. And then I just hot glue that up in the corner. You do want to kind of hold it down until the glue sets up. Then we can fluff the bow. This ribbon is old, so some of the wire is kind of poking through, and I do cut some of that off. And I just use jute around the ribbon to shape it into a bow. And now I'm just shaping my pieces that are hanging down that I dovetailed to make them look a little better. And there it is. I think it turned out great. What do you guys think? Oh, and I'm going to put a hanger on the back of it. So you could either, I can't talk today. You can either set this on a shelf or you can hang it once we get the hanger on the back. It's just a little piece of jute. I put knots in either end, and I'm just hot gluing it to the back at the top. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the leftovers from where I dovetailed the mesh bow up over the knot. So I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue and then put that down on it just to make it a little more stable. Because sometimes these type of hangers do kind of pop off if the glue gets cold enough, I guess, and it gets hard. Sometimes, if you're hanging it, your piece does kind of fall down sometimes. So I think this helps with that. So just added a real small piece to either end. And now this project is complete. I love it. You'll have to let me know at the end of the video which was your favorite. The tree, the hat, this joy sign, or the last DIY that we're getting ready to do. And so now we're on to DIY number 4. So I was so happy to see these beaded wreath forms at the Dollar Tree. And I picked up 3 of them, so you might see me doing some more DIYs with them. And then I have these leftover leaves that I've been using all along in my DIYs, this for the holiday season. And I'm just taking a piece of wire, and I think it's probably about 22 or 24 gauge wire, and I'm just wrapping it around the stem of the leaf. So I went down, so you see where the 2 ends of the wreath are together. I counted down 13 beads, and I added the leaf between the 13th and the 14th bead. And then once I get that leaf on, I'll put another one on, but I'll skip 3 beads. So skipping down 3 beads, and then I wrap it around the base of the stem. And you want to wrap it pretty tight because you don't want to move it around and falling out. So again, I'm going to skip down 3 beads and add another leaf. And those are the bigger leaves. So now I'm kind of putting on, I think this is a medium-sized leaf. So I do like 3 larger leaves, or it could still be a large leaf. I'm not sure. But I do large leaves, medium leaves, and then the small leaves. Now I'm going to work on the other side. And I'm just going to do the same thing. So I'm counting down 13 beads and putting the base of the stem between the 13th and the 14th bead. I had to recount just in case. I think at first I was going to do 12 beads, and then it ended up being 13. So I had to cut another piece of wire. This is actually just some jewelry wire I had on hand. I used to make jewelry. Don't do that anymore. So I sped this up so you wouldn't have to watch me do the very same thing that I just did on the other side. And then as it gets closer to the bottom, instead of skipping every 3rd bead, I skip 2 beads. Now I didn't want to use hot glue on my beads in case I wanted to use this wreath sometime in the future. I don't want to mess them up by putting hot glue on them. That's why I'm using wire. And I didn't think that the leaves would stay on there real good with just the hot glue. So that's another reason why I'm using the wire. So now I'm adding smaller leaves. The leaves are getting smaller as I go along. Let me know if you were able to find these beaded wreaths at your Dollar Tree. When I went, I think it was earlier this week, to go in there for something else, I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I had to buy 3 of them. They had several of them. Actually, you know, Dollar Tree, I think, is doing pretty good this year, stocking everything, but it's like you have to go almost every day because they're putting out new stuff all the time. I think they finally got some more workers and are able to put their stock out. But they do probably do a little bit each day. I know this one man that works there, he probably thinks I'm crazy because I'm in there all the time. But it's like if you don't go all the time, you miss out on the good stuff because everybody's already grabbed it up. Of course, my husband thinks I'm just wasting money buying all this stuff, but hey, keeps me happy. Happy wife, happy life, right? So the very center leaf is the smallest leaf. And I'm just clipping off the extra wire and the longer ends to the stems of the leaves. And I really like this bunch of leaves that I got from Michael's. I think they go really well for the winter DIYs and the Christmas DIYs. I've used them in several projects. Have to add a little bit more wire so that my middle leaf is going in the right direction and is on there stable enough. I fiddle around with that middle leaf there a lot. I probably should have just glued it down after I used the wire on it, but I didn't. I think I got it where I need it to be. So this red pick I also got from Michael's. It was in the fall section several months ago, and we're just going to add pieces of it in between all the leaves. And then we'll add one on a piece of one on top of that small leaf there in the center. So at first I just lay it in between the leaves so that I know exactly where I want it to be. And then I'll take it out and put the glue on and then put it in place. And I do that for each one of them, for the most part anyway. Like I said, I have several DIYs with using these leaves and this red pick here. And I think it would look really good staged together as like a set. So I have like a Christmas present box. I have a 3-piece Christmas tree. And I'm not sure what else, but I've used it on several items. So if you haven't watched those videos, you can go to the video section And you could go to my playlist and go to the Christmas section of the playlist, and then you'll see some other videos with pieces I've used these leaves and this red pick on. I think this wreath turns out simple and elegant. That's how I would describe it. How would you describe it? Let me know in the comments. And out of these 4 DIYs, which one do you like the best, or which one do you think you might recreate? Let me know in the comments. And I always read the comments and I respond to each one. And I appreciate each one of my subscribers. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, would you consider doing so? And if you like my content, would you consider giving me a thumbs up? And if you know others that like to craft that might like the videos that I do, you could share my videos with them. And be sure to check out the description box. I put my Facebook page link there. And then I also have some Amazon products listed, links to those that I like, in case you might be interested in some of the products I use. These glue strings are terrible. I decided that middle leaf needs some red too, so I just cut like the end off of one of the red pieces. And I just use the end of it to put right in the middle of that leaf. And I think it gives it just what it needed. See, the bottom of my glue gun fell off. That's the only thing I don't like about that glue gun. The only thing. So now we need to cover up that part at the top. Well, first of all, I'm going to put a hanger on it. And I just have this red and tan jute. I just looped it over, did 3 strands, tied a knot in it, and then I'm just going to wrap it around the top of my wreath, right where they put those 2 pieces together. Well, not pieces, 2 ends. And then I'm going to leave the knotted end at the top. If you don't like that, you can always change it around so the loop is at the top. And now I have this ribbon that I got last year. Not sure where I got it, but I'm just going to make one of those crisscross bows or crossbows, like I said, 6 kids in a glue gun, like she makes. I think her name is Amanda. She makes it look so easy. I'm just trying my hand at it for a second bow here. You know, from the previous bow I didn't show you, but I'm going to show you on this one. Well, sort of. I'm kind of out of camera there. Sorry about that. So you just kind of loop it and pinch it together, and you want to make sure that your ends are facing so that the printed side is up. So you want to kind of twist it. And then I'm just going to tie it in the back with this thin piece of ribbon. Just a scrap piece of ribbon that was laying around, and you want to tie it really tight. So I give it about 3 knots there. fluffing it up. Then I'm going to dovetail the ends. And then I'm just going to take that excess ribbon where I tied it in the middle, and I'm going to tie it right where my hanger is, in between those beads. And this is where I give it actually 3 knots. I did 2 knots on the bow and I did 3 knots here. I knew I did it somewhere. Then you want to cut off the excess. And it is complete. Well, you want to fluff it up and then do something with your ends there. But I thought this ribbon went really well with this wreath because of the red that's in it. It has pine cones and some greenery and some little red berries, I guess it is. Okay, so here's the final reveal. So there you see the hat, the tree with the pink trees on the inside, the joy sign made out of the gift bag, and the wreath we just completed. And again, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And if you like my content and what you see here, please give me a thumbs up if you would. It just helps YouTube get my channel out there if more people like it. And then put some comments out there. Bye, y'all.